Today we're taking a look at a story behind a beer that's become completely iconic in Canada, Labatt Blue.
Show us what you got.
I am from Japan.
I am from Canada.
Let's get the Canadian tuxedo.
It's time to fall for the blue.
Go have some Labatt Blue.
Labatt Blue's journey spans from small-town start in Ontario to stadium sponsorships to being brewed in the storied upstate New York brewery. Stay tuned for which one. Where does Labatt fall when stacked up against classic American lagers? We're also going to find out. The story of Labatt starts way back almost 175 years ago in 1847, before Canada was even a country. That's when John Kinder Labatt, an Irish-born farmer and grain dealer, partnered with Samuel Eccles to run the London Brewery in London, Ontario. The funniest thing about that is that Labatt wasn't a brewer at all. He actually sold barley to guys like Eccles, and he realized the real money is what happens to the barley after it's sent to the breweries. Eccles as the brewer, Labatt as the money guy, and he handled operations and distributions. Now, after Eccles retired, Labatt bought out his share and took full control of the brewery. By the 1860s, under Labatt and later under his son John Labatt II, the brewery became one of Ontario's largest. They were shipping beer by wagon, steamboat, eventually by rail, all over the place, and it made Labatt one of Canada's first national brewers who thought on a big scale and not just locally. So fast forward almost 100 years to 1951 when Labatt introduced a brand new beer called Labatt Pilsner Lager. That's actually the beer that I have in front of me today, introduced 75 years ago and has persisted until now. It's a crisp golden lager, and it was introduced at a time when lighter beers were just starting to take off. It was almost ahead of the curve. The beer's label is bright blue, and Labatt happened to sponsor the Winnipeg Blue Bombers football team.
Canadian professional football brought to you by Labatt's Brewers of 50 Ale, Canada's fastest growing ale.
Fans started asking bartenders relentlessly for, very simply, a blue, and the nickname stuck. By 1968, Labatt officially rebranded the beer as Labatt Blue, the name we know and love today. So anyway, that's the name that stuck. And through the 60s and 70s, Labatt Blue exploded. Ad campaigns showed up all over the place, showing people on beaches, hot air balloons painted blue, tagline, the true blue lager beer.
True Canadian lager.
They were all in on the color. So by 1979, something really special happened. The Blue became Canada's best-selling beer for the first time, even overtaking something like Molson Export. For the first time, a light, easy drinking Pilsner dominated the Canadian market. Labatt Blue is brewed as a Pilsner-style lager utilizing malted barley, hops, yeast, and water. It's designed to be balanced, crisp, clean, and approachable. Internationally, it's actually described as an American adjunct lager, and it comes in at about 5% alcohol by volume, simple, smooth, super drinkable. Over the years, Labatt also pushed two small innovations, like adopting twist-off caps, and in the 1980s experimenting with clear and light versions of the same beer. Nothing totally revolutionary, but they've always focused on accessibility, subtle refinement, and of course, convenience. In 1995, Labatt was bought by the Belgian brewing giant Interbrew, which later merged to become today's Anheuser-Busch InBev. That made Labatt part of one of the biggest beer families on earth. But things got complicated in the United States. Because of antitrust rules, the American rights to Labatt are held by a separate company, Labatt USA, which licenses the brand independently from Labatt in Canada. So here's the modern twist, here's the payoff, literally right across the border. In 2024, the Genesee Brewery in Rochester, New York, began brewing Labatt Blue and Blue Light under the license for the US market. That's right, the same folks behind the famous Genesee Cream Ale are now producing the wonderful Labatt Blue for American drinkers. After absolutely dominating through the 1970s, Labatt Blue eventually faced new rivals. By the late 1980s, Molson Canadian had surpassed them once again, and by the 2000s, international brands like Budweiser and Coors Light had also entered the very competitive Canadian market. By 2004, the famous Blue had slipped from its top spot for the first time in many decades. It's kind of a victim of the shifting tastes and actually the rise of craft beer. But even with the competition, Labatt Blue stayed a fixture in bars, hockey rinks, and tailgates across the country and Canada, and even across the border in areas like Buffalo and Rochester. So again, today in 2025, Labatt does remain one of the best-selling Canadian beers brewed in the world. It's sold in more than 50 countries, stretching all the way from the United States to the Caribbean. So the question is, how does Labatt Blue taste? First thing I like to do is take a look at the logo, take a look at the design. I do have both a can and a bottle here, and I have to say, I do like the red, white, and blue. It's really, really sharp. I love blue as a color on a beer can. When it gets condensation, it's a very saturated, beautiful color. Of course, you have the Canadian maple leaf there on the can. All in all, kind of a unique design. A lot of American light lager will focus on the red aspect of things. This focuses on the blue. Really, really bright, clean, crisp design, instantly recognizable. And interestingly enough, as a subject of the video, this being a Canadian beer, it's proudly brewed in the United States of America. 12 fluid ounces, 4.7% alcohol by volume, packaged by Labatt USA, Rochester, New York. Shout out. That's it. That's all we got. We have pristine Pilsner on the label, which is cool, because I think if it is indeed a Pilsner, it's not an American adjunct lager. So I don't know if that means it's made with or without corn. Let me know in the comments. Again, I don't research the construct of these beers, so I just give a very, very unvarnished impression when I try them. Beautiful light golden color into the glass. Good head forming, obviously filtered appearance. Looks awesome. Looks, honestly, we just tasted Lone Star on the channel. This reminds me very much of that. Clear, crisp, bright, straw color. Looks good. Smell. You guys might be wondering what that logo is. That's the Treehouse logo. That's our brewery. If you're interested, we'll leave you a link down below. Oh, that's nice. Wow, okay. Wow, I didn't expect that. Wow. Okay. It's dry, it's crisp, it has like a good hop pop to it. I really like that. Kind of reminds me of a Miller Lite, Miller High Life, kind of like the Miller family. It has a really punchy bitterness. It's not overwhelming, of course. You're not going to be scraping your tongue, but you get a really nice punch of hoppiness in this beer. It's crisp, it's dry. Wow. Of the regional beers that we've tried so far, I would venture to say that this is probably one of my favorite.
Beauty.
For a mass market beer, it does represent attributes that are similar to a German style Pilsner, which is a little bit of hop character, a little bit of punchiness, and it has a lot of character in this example. Michael, I forgot to ask, did we get this cold on the floor?
That was cold in the fridge.
Cold in the fridge. I love to hear that. That's actually, that's the exception and not the rule. Typically these beers are found warm and on the floor. So yeah, all things combined, beautiful package, great history, great legacy, brewed by Genesee in Rochester, New York. A beer that's a little bit of a taste of place with a whole nation's pride behind it. I quite enjoyed it. I think it has been a standout in the regional aspect of these beer tastings. All right, we've been tallying regional enthusiasm based on the number of likes that the videos get, and I think so far Genesee is leading, but the question is, can Labatt light it up? Let's find out. I want to thank you guys for watching. This, as always, has been a pleasure, and we'll see you next time.